Good morning. Welcome to my stream. Scribbled States. We'll be getting into it a little bit more today. Are you excited? Because I am very excited to party SpongeBob. Just making a few alterations just because it's a little funky. But we're going to get into some rigging today. Not full rigging, but enough. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. All right. Welcome. All right. There's a few topics that have been coming up the past few days. I guess we'll talk and kind of rant about them while we're going through this. If you weren't here for the coloring that I did on my Twitch, it's Twitch at Lewd Concepts. Out of this auto patch, pretty much to the skeleton. See, because right there, it kind of just looks like Skeletor, right? But you add this auto patch, and look, we're connected. Now, since we're on this jaw, I want to mess with something called multi-point constraint. We could try with the 2-point constraint first, because usually it works better with those. So let's get started. I'll go ahead and drop this. See, we have the transformation tool, which plugs into our piece, right? And we have our right peg and our left peg. And the switch, depending on what kind of switch you want to throw in it, right? You can mess around with the properties if you want to see how active you need it to be or whatever. But what I like to do is create our peg here. We're going to use the top of the jaw as one pivot. And the other pivot we're going to use as is going to be, I'm thinking down here, right on the chin. Because when we put a kinetic output to these things, I want it to like drag the face anytime we drag the jaw down. And this is going to help us get through our mouth movements for our hinge, right? So I'm thinking 2.1 here, 1 here. Let's try that out. Let's try that out, right? So we're going to need to add 2 pegs. Peg 1. Sorry, control peg. Let's not call it constraint. I'm going to call this, I'm just going to add 2 pegs to this thing. All right. We'll go, I'm thinking jaw and then chin. Let's try that. There we go. That way we have them separated. We gotta keep them separated. You know, like that one song. It's kind of corny. Yeah. But I'm also gonna add another pivot. Or not pivot, but one to control the entire jaw altogether. Just in case we need to move it. I always like to do stuff like this just to kind of keep on top of everything. I'll call this the master jaw peg. MJP. There we go. So now we got to place these things. So I like to use where'd it go? Usually it's up here. I probably moved it or okay, so we can find it again. I believe tool properties, no. Sorry, my throat's a little burnt out from talking all day and rambling. Buddy Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. Tyler the animator. Had a nice little beach day. It was pretty sweet. Let's see. I want to say it's not the master controller. It's one of these though. Perspective. I've seen marker script editor. Control point. There we go. I think that's it. No, that's not it. Let's try deployment guides. Nope. Advanced animation? No, that's there still. Oh, chain, onion skins, scripting, shift and trace, tools, art layers. Tool presets? Can't remember what that thing is called. I guess we'll go through these. It's not the coordinates. I want to say it was like the animation tool. I really want to say that. Like, had to be something along those lines. Oh, you know what's funny? It's already here. It's just hiding here in this corner. Look at that. Crisis averted. All right. Now we're going to poke on this cross because this is going to be our default axis. And now when I do this master peg, I'd like my master peg to be, I'm going to put it here at this jaw pivot here, right? Just because I feel safe with it there, and I like it. It's pretty cool. The main jaw, I'm going to put up here right by the tooth. And then the chin, I'm going to bring down, oops. I'm going to grab the center peg just to kind of drag it there. I'm going to drag that here. Now, to test this, when we move the mouth, we want to make the chin be able to move up and down. You see, it's kind of doing what it's doing, right? We can move it accordingly, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right? I'm not liking this squash and stretch thing it's automatically doing. So we're going to try a different layout with the multi-point control. So we'll keep these two, right? But we're going to change some of this stuff. So I'm going to delete this and get rid of that. I'm going to pull out multi-point constraints. Now this one will do what we need it to do. All goes according to plan. So we'll have our jaw where it is, right? So we go here. Make sure our jaw is going to be where the jaw pivot is. So we're going to move this over here. I want to add another one too. So I'm thinking of front jaw and back jaw. So we could just have F and B, right? So we'll make another peg. B, which is also under the influence of this guy. And we'll do this. Too many spaces. It's too different. There we go. Trying to be different and weird. That's my job. All right. So now we got these guys. I'm going to place this other jaw on the other side, and we'll see how the chin behaves when I move it now. I'll see how it's more in place. So now if I need to move his jaw open and close, it should be able to adjust accordingly, right? We got our constraints over there. Now to check this theory, we can do, let's move to a closed mouth. Right? Now we're going to get a chin. We're going to see if we can match the jaw to that chin. I don't like how skinny it gets, but this is where the animation part comes into play. Go to this left jaw and open it up more to give him more of a closed look, so to say, right? And then we can get this jaw, move it up more as if the jaw was actually moving itself, right? So we know that we could do what we need with it now. That being said, we can move on to the next part. And we're going to modify each and every one of these little pieces. I'm going to Control Z until we're back to no nodes. These guys just need to be where they need to be. Check. Check. And check. This one I might actually move a little bit more up. There we go. And let me make sure this one's where it needs to be. It needs to be like right here. I'm using my physical finger on the screen to locate this because I do not want to move all over the place. And it's perfect. It is where it's supposed to be. That's awesome. So, starting out the first one again. I'm going to kind of do the same with the mouth. So, as we're moving up to these little head parts, I guess we could just add the regular pegs of things that we're not going to really move too much. So this one's just going to have a regular peg. We're going to move our peg to our head. So I like to put the head on the pivot of the neck. So to do that, I'm going to mark it about right here, right? Go here. I'm going to grab this peg and move it right to where my little mark was. So when we move our head, we want the head to move where the neck is moving, right? We'll get in depth why we're doing that, right? Now this ear pivot, we're going to do, so I want to use the 2-point on this guy. Because I like the idea of having this move and then the top of his ear move for dramatic effect. So, we'll go 2-point constraint. Go ahead and drop it on this guy here. Connect them. We're going to get our 2 pegs. Go top ear and lobe. Or not lobe. Let's do ear top and then ear. Center. Center ear. So C ear. Ha 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 ha. P. Then we're going to do... Oops. Top ear P. Let's go T. T or P. Alright. We're going to plug this guy here. This guy here. Going to grab, I don't think we need a base one, but it'd be nice just to control them both if we needed to. And we'll go master ear peg. Boom, just like that. Okay, so master ear peg, we're gonna move it to the actual, I think we should do the actual pivot point of the ear. This one's going to share its point. So this is going to be the top here. And then this one, it's going to be the hold down spot, which is like, I want to be this part of the lobe that doesn't really change, right? So if we need to move the ear, we can move the ear around. It's got its own squatch and stretch stuff going on with it. Now, to the mouth. There's a couple of options we can do here. But how I'm going to rig this, I'm going to let this take precedence of the squats and stretch over the entire face, right? Because we got this face peg over here. And let's actually separate this. I'm going to move this up more just to get it out of the way. We're going to separate these, right? So the mouth, we're going to give it just a regular peg. I want the peg now to be, you're going to see later why I want to do this. I want to put the peg of this mouth right here where the nose, bridge of the nose would meet the mustache and whatever else, right? I'm going to do that with everything else except the nose. The nose I'm going to put probably up here. So we'll go ahead and give a peg for the nose. Move our peg to the bridge of the nose. We're going to add a... Now this one, I'm debating. I'm thinking what we can do is I could probably add a curve deformation to this. But I also want to add a peg to the top of that curve. So, easy way to do this and be lazy, because we can do that as animators for our own animations, right? Because it helps speed the process up, we know that, right? Is use this envelope tool. I want to use a 3-axis, so it's going to draw a straight line through, right? So you want to make sure to have this box checked. The dithering size, it's the length of those little hangers that they have. But check it out. Easy envelope right there, right? Now, what you can do is you can go into your animation tool right here. I'm gonna actually move this up. And you can move these guys around. So I want to make sure that the point of this guy is right here. I'm gonna make sure this is at this corner on the just on the outside, and this one's here just on the outside. So if we remove his mustache, it's gonna be like a butterfly and do butterfly movements. Another thing we can do too is make the center axis here and then fly out the other 2 ways, but we'd have to do it manually to do that. But for now, this is fine. It's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too out of the ordinary. It's just right. I'm gonna move these deeters a little closer in. So they're a little far for me, for my taste at least. All right, and see how it puts a deforming composite on here, which is pretty awesome. It tries to organize them because we checked the box to try to organize them per the peg, right? But what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a peg to these. So boom, deformation peg. We're gonna move our master peg now, right here, to the top of the mustache. So if we need to make the mouth have kinetic output to the mustache, we'll be able to do that. And it should just be easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? We'll find out when we get there though, because we're gonna finish rigging everything else. Now for this eye, easy peasy. I'm thinking just regular pegs, and then if we need to make a shivering effect, we could run it accordingly. So eye, peg, I'm going to do this, check it out. Highlight, everything that's just going to have a regular single peg, we're going to highlight. We don't want to do that, don't hold control. I'm holding control right now, of course I have it. Alright, and then wrinkles, I'll also add just a regular peg so I can just draw as I need, right? It's not going to add much, but we can have just a relative output to it. So if you have these highlighted, I think you Control-Alt-P or Control-Shift-P. Yeah, there you go. Now you have a peg for all of these parts that you just wanted to have regular pegs. So that being said, we're going to move the pegs to the center. Actually, I'm going to move it to the pupil. I like the idea of the pupil being the leading force. So we got that eye. This eye is going to be over here. Pupil, boom. Wrinkles, center of the face, right here. Boom. All right. So now we got those guys out of the way. Brow. You know what we're going to do? Yep, you knew it. You knew it all along. I'm a filthy, filthy cheater. Look at me. I do not deserve this. So I went ahead and created my thing. We just need to move our pieces around. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my tool, be able to move stuff. I'm going to move this just over the eyebrow. Since we have the entire brow line, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to mock up the trace eyebrow. I'm going to show where I want those movements to kind of emphasize. So I want to cover just enough area and not too much. I like moving these kind of right before the ridge. You'll see what I'm going to do after we're done with this, because I got to make the face expression after we're done with this. He's already kind of like curving his eyebrow, so we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of expression to that. So it defaults in that area, just like that. All right. Theoretically, this should be like over there, right, with it. It should probably be vice versa, I'm not going to lie. What we can do to fix that is highlight these guys. We can probably move them around. At this point, there's no point. But let's check out how this influences the movement. Move it up and down. Shocked. See how our line kind of overlaps? This is perfect. It's exactly what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to keep it the lazy way. I'm not going to put the center in the center. Normally you would have our center curve up here. We could probably still do that just by moving their offsets and organizing them differently. Like, check this out. Center curve, right? So this guy's gonna go here, 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 and then here. Oops. Like that. And theoretically, it should swap them, but since we don't have them moved around, it's just gonna fight us. But in the meantime, we can get our other one in, and at least our other one will be from left to right. You can show me how to do it otherwise, that'd be awesome. Maybe there's an invert section. Let's check it out. Envelope creator, create envelope. There's no inverse, so let's just drop this bad boy. I made some nice thistle tea. There we go. So now, gotta organize this guy to be where it needs to be, right? It's got his points of influence. Boom. He's a little sloppy, but it's not too bad. Could be worse. Just like that. Okay. Now, that part's all rigged. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the body. So this one, I'm probably going to have a bone section. This one's probably going to be a peg. So we'll leave that. Neck flaps are also going to be a peg because we're not going to move this stuff too much. So all these are just going to be pegs. And these are going to supersede everything else. So Control Shift P, and we got our peg parts. We just need to place them now. All right. Now, back on the topic of self-worth. A lot of people struggle with this, man, and what gets me is that a lot of people have issues finding where to judge their self-worth, or not so much judge, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Deliberately position themselves where they should be if they were in a line, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to like simplify it in the best way possible, but a lot of people struggle with that. I struggle with it. I used to think I was nothing and had no worth to my own self. But through therapy, you know, you kind of put things together and things start to work out just fine. I think I'm going to frame by frame the movement of these a little bit, but I might not. Get creative. This one, I'm going to use a bone for this one. we're gonna go here, bones. Now, I know where to start here, right? But to put the actual bone placement, go back here again. I'm gonna mark my little spot here. I'm gonna go back to my placement tool. I'm gonna pop right there. So now if I move the neck around, it's gonna move whatever I need it to move, but now it's just a single bone, right? So, but judging back onto that self-worth thing, yeah, I struggled with it a lot in the past, and it really is an eye-opener when, like, me trying to get my shit together and then struggling to have to people please and put my own needs aside for someone else that doesn't give a crap about me in terms of, you know, work relationships, home relationships. Finding your self-worth really does impact your creative flow. Now, if you give too much of yourself, there's nothing else to give to yourself. Or if you give too much of yourself to someone else, you don't have enough of yourself to give to you. And that's kind of detrimental, you know, because if you don't give to yourself, you're kind of dooming yourself to this depression state, right? Not to say depression doesn't come from other places, but this is another cause of depression, right? So with that being said, it's just overwhelming, right? Sorry, that sigh was for this, because I realized that these also have to supersede the face. So we're gonna move these up here along with everything else. So our guy up here, just gonna click to these guys. So I think the body's gonna go on top of this guy. These kinetic outputs are gonna like connect to these guys, and then these guys are gonna connect to, we got ears, face. So the head one right here is probably gonna connect to the face stuff. So I'm gonna kind of pivot him over this way. We have like a hierarchy, you know? Pop here, alts. No, we're not gonna alt. Take that away. He needs his own thing. This is gonna come down here, and this is gonna connect to all the face parts. Oh yeah, we almost forgot to add our peg for these guys. Master peg. Master peg. All right, pop those guys on there. Place some. I go here. Same with this guy over here. Pop him over. Oops. This whole eyebrow almost went with him. You see that? He was very shocked. All right. But yeah, this one's just going to connect to everything. And then we have kinetic output for everything. And trip out. This is where I'm getting at. This is where I'm getting at. This is where the finale begins. All right. So once this stuff is all connected like this, right? Move this stuff over. Give it some difference. Give it some space, right? All right. So now when I move my neck, everything else should move with it. If I did this right. Correct? So let's go to our animation tool. And just like that, you see how everything moves but the eye. It means we're missing something in here. We forgot to connect a singular eye right there. And that's our buddy right there. Yeah, buddy. Boom. All connected now. Now when we move our neck again, we got the whole thing moving. You see that? Now the rest of the thing's not moving because I got to connect the rest of the stuff to this. Stay tuned, and I hope to see you all next time on Scribbled States. So just keep in touch with me. Again, lewdconcepts.com, and thank you for subbing and subscribing and enjoying my tutorial blah 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 TV show. I'll probably have some guests in too, so you know, you never know. Just stay in touch. All right, later, my fellow ludists.